Story 1. I did for not making my fiance a list of things to do for our daughter. We'll try to keep this as short as possible. I, 24F, and my fiance, 25M, had a rather large disagreement this morning. While I was brushing my teeth and using the bathroom, my fiance placed our daughter to watch her show in her high chair and then just proceeded to watch TikToks for the next approximate 1,015 minutes straight while my daughter waited. I finally came out and saw this and asked why he hadn't made any breakfast for her, yet he proceeds to say, I was waiting to ask you what to make for her note. She is one and eats scrambled eggs on daycare days like today. I said that's a lie, you know what she eats by now. Anyways, this comment sparked a disagreement between us because I vented about his lack of assistance in helping to get her or any of her belongings ready to go in the morning. His solution after getting frustrated with me was to tell me I need to make him a list of what I would like him to do for her, and I refused as I said I don't want to mother him as well, and as her parent he should know what needs to be done: diaper changes, outfit, teeth brushing, daycare bottles cleaned and filled up, etc. I tried explaining that as her mom no one ever gives me a list, I simply look around or think about what needs to be done. So I guess my question is AITA for refusing to make the list? Sarah Banks says, India, you're right. He's a parent too, and these are basic tasks he should be able to manage without needing a list. It's understandable that you don't want to take on the mental load of managing everything for him, especially when you already have your hands full. Parenting should be a shared responsibility, and it sounds like you just want him to step up and be more proactive. Maybe a conversation about expectations and communication could help clear things up, but asking for a list seems like a cop-out on his part. You're not being unreasonable at all. Stripe Badger says, ugh. Weaponized incompetence. Be aware I'm biased in my vote. That is a complete deal breaker for me. So I can't even imagine why are you engaged. NTA Scary Welder 840 first says, NTA, what I would like him to do for her. He's over here acting like it's your kid. Story 2. AITA for telling my elf she can never visit us or my SAL again. My SAL Alice is a single mom. She had her first child at 16 and her second by 19. Alice lived with her parents but was often mistreated by my Mael Pat. My Mael is a mean, petty woman. She wore a light beige dress to my wedding, and anything I do isn't good enough. My grandmother died, and I inherited a double condo townhouse. My husband and I moved into one, and the tenants next to us moved out about 6 months ago. Alice was having a hard time, so I told my hubby if she could keep it nice, she could move in. Alice is working part-time and going to orthodontics assistant schooling. She's not a troubled person that my MIL makes her out to be. In 6 months, she hasn't been a problem, and the boys are now 7 and 4, so not bad children, just boys. They remind me of my cousins. My MIL was visiting Alice, and the 7-year-old was outside playing and knocking over a planter on my side. Not a big deal. My MIL screamed at him and called him a little N-word because he's a mixed child. I was so angry at her. I told my MIL to leave the property and not come back to visit ever. My Sael was shocked but cried, saying her mom often spoke to the 7-year-old like that. I told my hubby and he thinks we overreacted to his mom, and his mom just isn't used to children playing rough because they weren't allowed to. I told my husband a ball bouncing is not rough playing, it's an accident, and his mother's language was inexcusable under any circumstances, so for the boy's mental health that women is not allowed over. His whole family said I'm being dramatic and Alice has the habit of over-exaggerating everything, but I heard for myself what his mother said, and in 6 months of Alice living in the next condo to us, she has never given me the reason not to trust her or think she's an unfit mother or bad person. Update: my MIL is still insisting she didn't say that and I misheard her. My husband and I are still arguing over it because he thinks because his mother said it in anger because the child broke something expensive. I don't think that's a valid reason to say that to a child or anyone ever. Rosa Zoe Bear says, tell your husband he can visit his mom at her place. There is no excuse for using a racial slur, no matter what the kid did. The fact that your husband wants you to ignore it is not something I would accept in a spouse. DJ__Supreme_ITA says, NTA, I don't think mean and petty is enough to describe your Mael. My Mael screamed at him and called him a little N-word because he a mixed child. Your Mael is also racist. I can't imagine screaming slurs at a child for an accident. OP, keep this woman away from you, yourself, your nephews, and your husband because this woman is someone you shouldn't be around. Edit I missed. The fact your husband says you're overreacting to this. That is insane. He thinks that and leads me to have certain thoughts about him. Edit to OP. ID start looking at your husband a certain way because of his insistence on defending his mom saying racial slurs to a 7-year-old. There is no way you can mishear that word. The gaslighting is wild. What's crazy is that the item that was broken was yours and you're not losing your mind over it, Dry Duanath says. First of all, TA. Second of all, what is wrong with your husband? Thanks for watching. I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.